Hey there, Bible buddies. I've got another Bible review for you today, and this is a King James Version wide margin Bible produced by First Word Publishers. And I will go ahead and take a look. This is a ministry, so they offer these Bibles at not much more than cost. I believe this edition right now goes for about $50 on their website. I'll go ahead and post a link down below, so if you guys are interested, you can purchase it. But let's go ahead and take a look. Right at the gate, you can see this very beautiful deep grain. I would imagine that this is probably one of the main selling features of this Bible, aside obviously from the biblical text. But the leather that they use, whatever the formulation is, or wherever they're sourcing their leather from, it is just absolutely amazing. It's a very deep grain, very tactile. I mean, you can certainly feel all these grooves and lands. It's very, very nice leather. Go ahead and take a look at the stitching. There is that beautiful perimeter stitching there, very well done, very nicely done. Nice high quality construction there. Look at the spine. On the spine, the perimeter stitching continues, and then you have Holy Bible, King James Version. You have their logo there, and then First Word. Now there are some actual raised hubs, and these do feel like there's something underneath them. I could be wrong. Again, I'm not a Bible binder, so I don't 100% know. But they definitely feel like they're popping up a good bit. I mean, these are very, very noticeable. And they come up quite a bit. It does feel like there's something underneath, maybe like a little piece of leather or something underneath there to pop it up. But they do look good. It really adds a lot to the Bible, especially for the cost, the $50 mark there. Go ahead and take a look at the back. You just have that same nice grain on the back, and it's clean on the back. Go ahead and open it up here. Now this one does have a synthetic liner here. It does feel nice and durable. It feels very close to about the same thing that Cambridge uses. Obviously it's not going to be the same thing that Cambridge uses, but it feels like a very similar material there. It's very shiny and it's very thick. You can just tell it's very thick, and it does have kind of a little bit of a simulated leather look there. I'll take a look at the perimeter stitching and the corner work as well. Corner work looks pretty good. Now, one thing to notice here, you can see that there's kind of like an odd fold here in the leather. That is because there is a little bit of rubbing there in the book block, and you can see when you close it up there how tight the pages come to the edge of the kind of the leather lip there, that leather fold over. I do wish that they extended the cover just, it doesn't have to be much, maybe a millimeter or two longer in each direction, just so you don't get that. And you'll see it on the back side here. We'll take a look. You can see kind of the page here is bending up. This last page here is bending up. For that same reason, it's kind of interfering with the folded over edge there. Now, this is an edge line construction, so you do see that this material tabs up onto the block, and then you have this kind of synthetic material here on the last page. Let's take a look at the art gilt. It's very well done. And there are black and yellow head and tail bands. We'll take a closer look here along with the ribbons. There's the black and yellow head and tail bands. And the ribbons are very nice, high-quality ribbons. They're double satin ribbons. They're very thick, but they are very narrow. But they're very nice ribbons. And if you're a fan of narrow ribbons, you're going to love these. They did come angle cut, and they're very well done, very clean. Go ahead and get into the biblical text. You have a rather high kind of glue here on this kind of this flyleaf to this first page here. This is a thicker piece of paper there, like a cardstock. We've got a few sheets of that. Got 4 sheets. Then we have the title page there. We'll take a look. Go ahead and bring it up close for you guys. And you can see that it's out of Milford, Ohio. Milford, Ohio. There's been, I think the same company produces Bibles for a few different publishers. So you'll see kind of a lot of features that you would see in some other similar Bible producers. When we open it up, we have the epistle dedicatory. We have the table of contents here. And then you have the explanation of the signs that are used in the Bible, along with the alphabetical order of the table of contents. And then you have the first book of Moses called Genesis. Go ahead and get you nice and tight here, taking a look. Now, obviously, this is a double column verse by verse, and they are using Pilcrow markers here to indicate where the paragraph starts. And you can see that the text is very clean. We'll go ahead and turn it on the next page here. Now we do have the book names up at the top corner, the book names with the starting verse. Over here, the starting chapter and starting verse, and then the ending chapter and the ending verse. You do have the page numbers here in the bottom center. We do also have running headers up at the top of the page. There's nothing in the biblical text. And then there's also no footnotes, no cross references. This is really just like a text Bible. And obviously the point of this Bible is to be, a wide margin to let you write your own information, whether it's, contextual footnotes or write your own cross references and that sort of thing. So they really leave the biblical text clean for you to be able to do that. Let's go ahead and take a look. We'll get to the poetic setting, and then I'll do some measurements for you guys on the inside of it. I'm sure everybody's curious how wide these margins are. Get a couple pages into Psalms. There you go, the poetic settings. Looks very nice. I mean, obviously there's no attempt made at any kind of poetic formatting, only because, double column verse by verse, it is what it is. You do get these nice double line drop caps, which I really appreciate. I love when Bible producers do that. Just looks good to me, kind of takes it up a notch. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the measurements right quick. So your outer margin looks to be a little bit less than an inch. It's coming in right about 1, 2, 3, about 7/8 of an inch, a little bit more than 7/8 of an inch. On the bottom, it's a pretty good size there. We'll measure from the bottom of from the bottom of the number actually, and that is 1.5 inches from the bottom of the numbers there. And then on the top we have a little bit less than 1.5 inches, 1, 2, 3, 1 inch and 3/8 on the top. And then I'll try and get a good measurement here on the inside. Actually, let's go to the, all right, so we'll do like 1 and 1, 2, 3, like 1 3/8 of an inch on the interior margin, and the gutter, as they call it. So let's flip over to the New Testament, and then we'll take a look at the font sizes. Now, the New Testament is a black letter text. Hate to spoil it for you. Look at the New Testament title page. There you go. You can see that it is a black letter text. Let's go ahead and take a look at the font sizes here. We'll start with the capitals, and we'll do a capital B. And that looks to be about a 9.5 point in comparison to Times New Roman. Look at the A here in Ohms. Yeah, so it looks to be about a 9.5 point font, which is nice for a wide margin. Usually in these wide margin editions, the font tends to get kind of small. And I'll compare it here in a second with the Cambridge wide margin. We'll take a look. But yeah, usually they tend to get kind of small. This is nice at a 9.5 point font. And I have a feeling it's because those the cross references were omitted. It gives the text more room to breathe, more room to grow. So let us compare it to a wide margin. And then I have marked in it, so I'll show you some markings with what some pen strokes are going to look like. So I have this Eagle. This is a wide margin New American Standard in goat skin, and we'll take a look. Actually, let's start on the outside. We'll do a grain comparison and a size comparison. So there you can see the two different types of grain. Obviously the Cambridge goat skin is it's a finer grain. It is very deep, but it's a finer grain, as opposed to this kind of like larger and like more noticeable grain. I don't know. I prefer this, to be honest. I prefer much crazier grains and more unique looking grains versus like a very uniform looking grain. We'll compare the sizes here. And it looks like the Cambridge edges it out as far as width goes, probably by about 1/2 inch there. As far as height goes, let's go this way. As far as height goes, the first word here is a little taller. Let's check this side actually. Yeah, the first word's a little bit taller. And then as far as thickness, they're right about the same thickness. So pretty similar in footprint to the Cambridge. Well, let's take a look at the text. All right, so you can see the Cambridge text. The Cambridge text is definitely darker than this one, the first word. And also the Cambridge paper is much creamier. There's a vast difference in between these two papers. This is a decent paper. It's not the best, but it's not the worst. We'll take a look at ghosting right quick because I forgot that earlier. So you can see there, and it does appear to be line matched. No, not really. Actually, looking up here, I can see that there's a bunch of lines that are kind of off. So it's not really line matched per se. But the paper is decent enough to where, it's not terrible. I'm not getting a lot of ghosting or show through, at least as far as I can see. But in comparison to the Cambridge paper, definitely the Cambridge paper's got a much more creamy color. This one's more of just like a pure white color. But the thing to notice is that even though the Cambridge print here is darker than this first word print, the Cambridge print is considerably smaller than this first word print. Also, the leading on the Cambridge is considerably tighter than this one. So to me, this is still easier to read despite the fact that the Cambridge is a darker color print. So now as far as like margin spacing goes, the Cambridge beats it on the exterior spacing, but the Cambridge's gutter spacing is much less than the first word here. The first word also trumps the Cambridge in the upper and lower margin space there at the top and bottom of the page. So just something of note. I guess it depends where you like to take your notes. You know, I don't mind so much going to the top and the bottom of the text. I think it's fine, especially on a double column. Sometimes it gets kind of narrow here and you just kind of find room where you can. In this instance, the outer margin, funny enough, is the more narrow one. They probably could have scooted this in just a little bit, but I can understand them wanting to give you a little room, extra room here in the gutter. So let's go ahead and take a look at markings. So I did mark in this one. This is one that I plan on marking up quite a bit. So I wanted to do a test page here. And I'll show you what I did, what I used. It's kind of in the gutter here, apologies. But I have here, I used a Pilot G-Tech, G-Tech C3 in 0.3 millimeter, a Pilot G2 in 0.38 millimeter, a Zebra Sarasa in 0.4 millimeter, and then a Pigma Micron 005. And I did this just as a test to see, number one, how they would write, what they would look like, and then to see the show through, because this last sheet, unfortunately, they only give you one extra sheet of Bible paper. So this is all you get. It would have been really great if they would have done a whole nother signature of Bible paper for notes. But this is all you get, so I just had to use this one page. But thankfully, at least I had this one sheet, so I was able to test the pens and the show through and all that. So this is what I use. These are some kind of standards that a lot of people use. I like all of these because they write kind of fine enough for how I write. I tend to write about 12 lines per inch is about what I can get, 12 to 14 lines per inch. So I do tend to write very small in my notes, and I do tend to be kind of a copious note taker. I just kind of like kind of blah, 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 everything out on the page, all my thoughts and everything. So I do prefer to write small, and these are all going to be kind of within my, you know, what I can work with. So I also did some highlighting here, and I'm a big advocate of dry highlighters only because the wet ones really do tend to show through. So what I have is I have a Dickens Bible dry lighter, I have the Crayola Twistables there, the GTL Bible dry lighter, and then a Mr. Penn Sleek Gel. These are just some ones I dried out. I might do like a review later on, reviewing all of these kind of writing implements on their own. This is just an example of those on this paper. We'll go ahead and flip over and I'll show you the reverse side here. Now there is, like I said, this paper isn't like amazing. It's not the best paper on the market, but it's decent enough. And you can see there is a little bit of show through in the sense that you can see to the other side, but there's very little bleed. It looks like the only one spot that had a little bleed was kind of over here on the reverse side of that. So as long as I'm guessing as long as I move my hand fast enough, I shouldn't have any problems. But there's no bleed through. There's just a little bit of show through, which is to be expected because again, this paper isn't the thickest of papers. I mean, the Bible size is pretty trim. And I actually kind of like the fact that I can, you know, the paper is decent enough to take notes, and the Bible footprint is so small because this is something that I kind of want to start like taking to church. And if I'm going out and about, you know, I can have access to all my notes and things that I've written over the years. So let's take a look at the very end, the last little bit there. There wasn't really much. It was just this last page that I had the notes on. And then you have another couple sheets of cardstock here. You only have 2 in the back, and then Nope, 3 in the back. Well, kind of, you know, 3 in the back, kind of, you know, then you have your flyleaf, and that's attached to this last sheet in the back. And then that is it. So, yeah, I mean, it's a really great Bible, a really great wide margin Bible. I mean, it's $50, which is great. You're helping out a mission, which is great. There's a very decent amount of interior, like gutter space to write your notes in, which is awesome. It's always kind of crummy when you have like a double column. When you have like a double column Bible and then there's like no space on the inside gutter to write any notes for this column. So this definitely fixes that issue. So if you guys are interested, again, I will leave a link down below to purchase this. Bible Buddies, if you could, please like, subscribe, comment, all that YouTube stuff. Otherwise, I will see you next time. Bye.